Welcome back, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Today we're diving into the exciting world of British. The halfpenny 1/2 is one of the most iconic coins in UK history, and collectors worldwide are always on the lookout for rare dates, unique mint marks, and exceptional conditions. In this video, we'll reveal the top 4 most valuable United Kingdom halfpenny 1/2 coins, covering different years, mint marks, and conditions. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned collector, this list will help you understand which halfpenny 1/2 coins are worth the most money and why. Let's get started. First up, the United Kingdom halfpenny from 1982, examined in fine condition. Though modest in size and denomination, this coin holds unique appeal for numismatists and collectors interested in late decimal-era British coinage. In this video, we will explore the history behind this coin, highlight its distinctive features, especially the reverse side showcasing St. Edward's crown, discuss its rarity and collector demand even in damaged condition, review its current auction value in US dollars, and provide practical tips for collectors. By the end, you'll understand why even a small coin like this can hold both historical and monetary significance. The halfpenny, or 1/2p, has a long history in Britain, though its decimal version was introduced only in 1971, when the UK transitioned from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system to decimal currency. The 1/2p coin allowed for precise transactions, making it an essential piece of everyday commerce. By 1982, the halfpenny had been in circulation for over a decade and was approaching the end of its circulation life, with production ceasing just 2 years later in 1984. The coin was minted during the early reign of Queen Elizabeth II, a period that combined modernization with strong adherence to traditional British coinage symbolism. Coins from this era represent both a practical tool for daily transactions and a collectible artifact from the late decimal period. The 1982 halfpenny, in particular, stands out because it comes from the final years of its issuance, giving it added historical significance for collectors and enthusiasts. The 1982 halfpenny is a small copper-plated steel coin, weighing just 3.56 grams and measuring 17.14 millimeters in diameter. Its obverse features the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin, showing the Queen wearing the Machin effigy with a slightly turned head. Even in fine condition, most details of her portrait, including the outline of her face, hair, and shoulders, remain visible, though some finer details may show light wear. What makes this coin particularly notable is its reverse design, which showcases St. Edward's crown, a symbol of British monarchy and state authority. Designed by Christopher Ironside, the reverse depicts the crown perched atop a stylized portcullis with chains, a traditional symbol of Parliament. The denomination 1/2 and the year 1982 appear beneath and around the design. In fine condition, the crown and portcullis are still discernible, though minor wear may be present on the raised surfaces. This reverse design adds both visual appeal and historical depth, as St. Edward's crown is traditionally associated with coronations and royal authority, linking the coin to centuries of British heritage. From a mintage perspective, the 1982 halfpenny was produced in relatively large numbers, but its rarity in the collector market comes from condition. Coins in fine condition are less common than circulated, heavily worn examples, as most halfpennies saw extensive daily use in the early 1980s. The combination of low survival rate in good condition and the coin's late decimal era date makes the 1982 halfpenny particularly interesting to collectors, and damaged or heavily worn condition, such as coins with scratches, corrosion, or discoloration, demand drops significantly. While damaged coins may be useful for beginners or those assembling full date ranges, serious collectors focus on pieces where the reverse design, especially St. Edward's crown, remains visible and distinct. Even minor wear on the reverse can reduce aesthetic appeal and market value, but the historical context of the coin ensures that it still has interest as a type coin for decimal-era collections. So, what is the current auction value of a 1982 UK halfpenny in fine condition on the collector market today? Fine condition examples generally sell for $322,000. Coins with sharper detail, clearer reverse designs, and more pleasing coloration often command the higher end of that range. Coins in very fine condition may sell for $114,000, while uncirculated or mint examples can fetch $10 or more, particularly if the coin retains original luster and shows no surface marks. Though it's important to remember that even though the halfpenny is a low-denomination coin, its historical significance and the presence of St. Edward's crown on the reverse enhance it collectively. Coins from the final years of the halfpenny circulation maintain steady demand because they are harder to find in good condition, and collectors often seek them to complete date sets. If you're interested in collecting the 1982 halfpenny, here are some practical tips. Prioritize condition. A fine condition coin retains visible portrait and reverse details, making it significantly more valuable than worn or corroded pieces. Buy from reputable sources. Purchase coins from trusted dealers, verified auction houses, or reliable online marketplaces to ensure authenticity. Consider thematic collections. This coin is ideal for collectors focusing on decimal era coinage, Queen Elizabeth II's early reign, or coins featuring royal symbols like St. Edward's crown. Proper storage. Use coin holders or albums, avoid moisture, and minimize handling to preserve condition and value. Check for subtle variations. Slight differences in toning or striking may occasionally make a coin more interesting or valuable. To collectors, in conclusion, the United Kingdom halfpenny 1982 in fine condition may be small in denomination, but it carries significant historical and numismatic interest. The coin's reverse featuring St. Edward's crown links it to centuries of British heritage, while its late decimal era date adds rarity for collectors seeking quality examples. In fine condition, this coin typically sells for $1 to $3, offering an affordable yet meaningful addition to any collection. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a beginner assembling a decimal coin set, the 1982 halfpenny is a tangible piece of British history. Its modest size belies its historical importance, and its reverse design continues to captivate collectors interested in the monarchy, British symbolism, and late 20th century coinage. Next up, the United Kingdom's halfpenny, 1/2D, from 1976. In this video, we'll delve deeply into this coin's history, design, unique features, including its reverse depiction of St. Edward's crown over a high-relief portcullis, its rarity and collector demand, even in damaged condition, and its current auction market value in US dollars, especially when graded very fine. We'll also share practical tips for collectors of all levels and wrap up with key takeaways. Whether you're new to coin collecting or a seasoned numismatist, this coin offers a rich story that connects cultural heritage, monetary history, and market realities. So let's get started. To truly appreciate the 1976 United Kingdom halfpenny, we need to step back into Britain's monetary history. The halfpenny denomination, often written as 1/2D, has roots stretching back centuries to the days before decimalisation. For much of British history, currency was based on pounds, shillings, and pence, an old system that dates to medieval times. In this pre-decimal system, the halfpenny was worth 1 halfpenny, or 1/480 of a pound sterling. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, the United Kingdom underwent one of the most significant changes in its monetary system, decimalisation. On the 15th of February, 1971, the nation transitioned from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system to a decimal system based on 100 new pence to the pound. Despite this shift, many familiar denominations continued, adapted to the new system. The halfpenny was retained, representing 0.5 new pence, and continued to circulate alongside other decimal coins. The 1976 halfpenny sits within this transitional era. It was produced at the Royal Mint for everyday use and circulated widely in commerce found in pockets, piggy banks, tills, buses, and markets throughout the UK. Though not a high-value denomination, it played an important practical role in making change and facilitating small transactions during daily life. By the late 20th century, inflation and changing pricing practices gradually reduced the utility of the halfpenny, and the Royal Mint eventually withdrew it from circulation in 1984. Nevertheless, coins like the 1976 halfpenny remain valuable to collectors as tangible links to Britain's decimal coinage history. One of the most captivating aspects of the 1976 halfpenny, a coin that many casually dismissed as small change, is its elegant and symbolic design. Let's take a closer look at what makes this coin stand out. On the obverse, you'll find the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, the island nation's constitutional monarch at the time. The portrait used on this coin was designed by the renowned British sculptor Arnold Machin. Machin's portrayal of the Queen, used on British coinage from 1968 until the late 1980s, features Her Majesty wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. In very fine examples, the contours of the Queen's face, hair, and tiara remain distinct despite moderate circulation wear. This obverse design captures both regal dignity and artistic craftsmanship. However, it is the reverse, tail side, of the coin that is especially iconic and the focus of many collector discussions. The reverse design showcases *** St. Edward's crown placed above a high-relief portcullis with chains. This motif was created by sculptor Christopher Ironside, who played a key role in designing many British decimal coins. The portcullis, a stylized gate with vertical bars and top-mounted spikes, symbolizes strength, tradition, and historical continuity. It is often associated with the Palace of Westminster and British parliamentary history, making it a deeply resonant national symbol. The combination of St. Edward's crown and the portcullis ties together monarchy and governance, honoring centuries of British heritage. For many collectors, this reverse design is one of the most attractive and meaningful of all British decimal-era motifs. In very fine condition, the details of the crown's arches and the portcullis bars remain clear and pleasing to the eye, even as wear smooths some of the high points. Physically, the 1976 halfpenny measures approximately 17.14 mm in diameter and was struck in bronze, a traditional coinage metal composed mostly of copper with small proportions of tin and zinc. The bronze composition gives the coin a warm, reddish-brown appearance, especially when toned attractively by age and circulation. At first glance, the 1976 halfpenny might appear relatively common, especially compared to key dates or rare issues in other denominations. After all, this coin was minted for widespread circulation, and many millions were distributed throughout the UK economy. However, when we look closer at condition, survival rates, and collector preferences, the picture becomes more nuanced. Coins graded very fine occupy a sweet spot in the collecting world. They show evident signs of circulation, but the major design elements remain intact and visually pleasing. For the 1976 halfpenny, a very fine grade means that the Queen's portrait retains identifiable detail, and the reverses St. Edward's crown and portcullis are still clearly readable. These coins are far more desirable than heavily worn or corroded examples, yet they are more accessible in price than higher grades like extremely fine or uncirculated. That said, rarity is not just a matter of survival numbers. It is also influenced by what collectors want and what is scarce in certain grades. Because many 1976 halfpennies circulated extensively, untouched or well-preserved examples in very fine condition are less common than those in lower grades like good or fine. Over time, handling, bagging, and environmental exposure took their toll. Coins became scratched, bent, discolored, or even lost entirely. As a result, a well-centered halfpenny with strong details in very fine condition is a pleasing find for collectors who value visual appeal without the premium of near-mint examples. Even damaged coins have their place in the collector market, particularly if the damage occurred during the minting process. These era coins might exhibit features such as off-center strikes, partial planchet defects, or double striking. Unlike post-mint damage, which typically reduces value, certain mint errors can make a coin more intriguing and, at times, more valuable depending on rarity and collector demand. These mint errors provide insights into the coin production process at the Royal Mint and offer specialist collectors fascinating pieces with stories of their own. However, it's essential to distinguish between mint errors and post-mint damage. Circulation wear, scratches from contact with other coins, or corrosion from environmental exposure generally detract from value and desirability. On the other hand, genuine mint errors that can be documented and authenticated may attract premium interest. Perhaps the question on every viewer's mind is, what is a 1976 UK halfpenny worth today, especially in very fine condition, and how does that value translate into US dollars? While we need to be clear that coin values fluctuate over time with market demand, currency values, and economic trends, we can provide a realistic appraisal based on recent auction results and dealer price guides. For a 1976 halfpenny in very fine condition, current market values typically range between approximately $116,000 when sold through reputable auction platforms or online coin marketplaces. The exact value will depend on several factors. Appeal even within the very fine grade, coins with cleaner surfaces, warmer bronze toning, and minimal marks may command stronger interest and better prices. Strike quality coins struck with sharper details at the Royal Mint tend to retain stronger design elements, which can enhance desirability. Market conditions, seasonal demand, fluctuations in collector interest, and buyer competition at auction can all influence final sale prices. Coins that exceed the typical very fine standards closer to extremely fine can attract prices toward $10 or even higher, depending on collector enthusiasm and presentation. Conversely, coins with lesser appeal or signs of cleaning may sit at the lower end of the range. For genuine mint era varieties, the value can rise significantly above the standard range, sometimes into the tens of dollars or more, depending on the nature and rarity of the era. It's important to note that coins with authentic mint eras should ideally be authenticated and graded by recognized services to ensure buyers and sellers have confidence in the designation. Let's briefly summarize the key factors that influence how much a 1976 halfpenny might sell for in the current auction market condition and grade: very fine versus fine, good, or uncirculated effects price. Eye appeal: attractive coloring, minimal marks, and strong detail retention can enhance value. Market demand: interest from collectors completing sets or seeking historical coins directly affects competition and pricing. Era status: authentic mint eras, when properly verified, can command premiums above standard circulation pieces. Seller presentation: high quality photos, clear descriptions, and reputable auction listings attract better buyer confidence and stronger bids. If you are considering adding the 1976 halfpenny to your collection or expanding your British coin collection in general, here are some practical tips to guide your journey. Familiarize yourself with grading terms. Understanding the differences between grades like good, fine, very fine, extremely fine, and uncirculated will help you assess coins accurately and avoid overpaying. Inspect coins carefully before buying. Whether you're purchasing online or in person, look for signs of artificial cleaning, heavy scratches, or corrosion. These traits can significantly reduce value. Educate yourself about eras. Mint era coins can be intriguing additions, but only when correctly identified. Consult trusted guides, forums, or professional graders to distinguish genuine eras from damage. Join collector communities. Online forums, local clubs, and social media groups dedicated to coin collecting are excellent resources for learning and sharing insights. Set a budget and goals. Decide whether you're collecting for historical interest, investment potential, or personal enjoyment. Setting clear goals helps you make informed purchasing decisions. The United Kingdom's 1976 halfpenny is much more than a tiny piece of forgotten pocket change. It embodies a pivotal period in British monetary history, reflects iconic national symbols through its St. Edward's crown and high-relief portcullis reverse, and continues to capture the interest of collectors around the world. In very fine condition, this coin offers a blend of historical relevance, aesthetic appeal, and accessible market value when converted into US dollars. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or new to the hobby, the 1976 halfpenny is a wonderful example of how even everyday coins can hold rich stories and tangible connections to cultural heritage. With thoughtful collecting, careful grading, and an eye for detail, coins like this can be both enjoyable to own and fascinating to study. Next up, the United Kingdom halfpenny 1/2 coin from 1971, an important piece of British decimal currency history. While many may overlook this coin due to its small denomination, it carries both historical and numismatic significance, particularly as a first-year decimal coin. In circulated condition, it may show signs of wear, but that does not diminish its appeal to collectors who continue to search for these coins to complete sets or study the evolution of British coinage. In this video, we'll cover the coin's history, unique features, rarity even in damaged examples, and its auction market value in US dollars, along with tips for collectors looking to acquire one. The 1971 halfpenny holds a unique place in the history of British money. This coin was part of the decimalisation of the pound, officially implemented on February 15, 1971, when the United Kingdom transitioned from 240 old pence to a system of 100 new pence. The halfpenny was among the smallest denominations introduced, valued at 1/2 of a new pence. It played an essential role in everyday transactions, allowing for smaller change and helping the public adapt to the new currency system. The 1971 issue was the very first year of decimal coinage, making it historically significant. Millions of these coins were struck to meet public demand, and while they were intended for circulation rather than long-term collection, their status as first-year coins ensures continued interest among numismatists. The 1971 halfpenny is a bronze coin, measuring 17.14 millimeters in diameter, with a warm reddish-brown color that develops a distinctive patina with age. On the obverse, the coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin, depicting the young monarch with elegance and clarity. The reverse of the coin is particularly notable for collectors because it showcases St. Edward's crown, a traditional symbol of the British monarchy, sitting atop a portcullis, a design associated with the Palace of Westminster. The date 1971 and the denomination 1/2D are also clearly displayed. Even in circulated condition, the coin's hewing and distinctive crown design remain visible, making it recognizable and collectible despite surface wear. While the 1971 halfpenny is not rare in the sense of mintage millions were produced, the coin's first-year status gives it collector appeal. Circulated examples, even with visible scratches, worn details, or minor corrosion, are still actively sought after by collectors building decimal coin sets or studying British numismatic history. Damaged coins may be less desirable in premium collections, but they remain relevant for educational purposes, bulk purchases, or historical displays. Coins that show unusual features, such as die errors or misstrikes, can command higher interest even if they are circulated or slightly worn. The presence of St. Edward's crown on the reverse adds further aesthetic and historical value, particularly for collectors interested in regal symbolism on British coins. In terms of current auction market value, a 1971 halfpenny in circulated condition typically sells for between $434,000, depending on wear and overall appearance. Coins with lighter wear, clearer details, and more attractive coloration can sometimes fetch $331,000. Damaged examples, or those with heavy surface scratches, generally remain closer to the lower end of this range. Coins with errors, unusual toning, or striking anomalies can reach $124,000 or more, making them highly desirable to specialized collectors. Bulk lots of circulated coins often sell at discounted rates, offering an accessible way for collectors to own this historically significant coin without a major investment. Collectors interested in the 1971 halfpenny should carefully examine coins under good lighting to assess the Queen's portrait, the portcullis design, and the clarity of St. Edward's crown on the reverse. Even in circulated condition, coins with consistent coloration and minimal corrosion appear more attractive and sell more easily. Protective storage, such as coin flips or archival holders, is highly recommended to prevent further wear. Monitoring completed auction results rather than just asking prices gives a better understanding of real market trends. Additionally, collectors should keep an eye out for die errors or other anomalies, as these can significantly increase the coin's value even if the coin is circulated or slightly damaged. In conclusion, the United Kingdom halfpenny 1/2 1971 in circulated condition may seem modest, but it is an important numismatic artifact from the first year of decimal currency. Its bronze composition, Queen Elizabeth II portrait, and reverse design featuring St. Edward's crown make it both visually appealing and historically significant. While most circulated examples trade for just a few dollars, steady collector demand ensures they remain relevant in the auction market. For anyone interested in British coin history, the 1971 halfpenny offers a tangible connection to decimal day and provides an affordable and meaningful addition to any collection. Next up, the United Kingdom halfpenny 1/2 coin from 1981. At first glance, a dirty or heavily circulated example may seem unremarkable, but even coins in less than pristine condition have their place in numismatic history. The 1981 halfpenny represents an era of everyday British currency and provides insight into the daily transactions of the time. In this video, we will cover the coin's history, unique features, including its iconic reverse design with St. Edward's crown, its rarity even in damaged or dirty condition, current auction market values in dollars, and practical tips for collectors interested in acquiring or preserving this coin. The 1981 halfpenny is part of the United Kingdom's decimal coinage, introduced following the official decimalization in 1971. By 1981, this small bronze coin had been circulating for a decade, facilitating everyday purchases such as newspapers, sweets, and small household items. While millions were minted to meet public demand, the halfpenny remained a fundamental part of daily commerce and is remembered fondly by collectors as a tangible piece of British monetary history. The 1981 issue was one of the later examples before the coin was eventually withdrawn from circulation, which adds to its historical interest. Even in dirty or worn condition, this coin captures the essence of its era, showing the effects of circulation and the passage of time. The 1981 halfpenny is a small bronze coin, with a warm, reddish-brown surface that naturally develops patina and tarnish over time. The obverse displays Queen Elizabeth II's portrait, designed by Arnold Machin, showing a youthful and dignified image of the monarch. The reverse is particularly significant for collectors, as it features St. Edward's crown atop the portcullis, a symbol historically associated with the Palace of Westminster and British royal authority. The date 1981 and the denomination 1/2D are also clearly marked. Even in dirty condition, the coin retains its distinctive shape and design elements, making it recognizable and collectible. The worn surfaces or accumulated grime on the coin can tell a story about its circulation history, which adds an additional layer of interest for some collectors. In absolute terms, the 1981 halfpenny is not rare, given its relatively high mintage. However, its historical significance as part of the decimal coinage system ensures steady collector demand. Even dirty or heavily circulated coins can be valuable for collectors who are completing date sets, studying British coinage, or acquiring affordable examples. Coins with unusual wear patterns, toning, or minor errors are particularly sought after. While pristine examples fetch higher prices, collectors understand that circulated or dirty coins are an accessible entry point into the world of British numismatics. In fact, these circulated coins are often the only type available in larger quantities, making them a practical choice for budget-conscious collectors. 1981 halfpenny in dirty or circulated condition typically trades for between $431,000, depending on the severity of wear, dirt accumulation, and overall visual appeal. Coins with less grime or minor toning may reach $423,000 in online auctions. Heavily damaged coins with scratches or corrosion usually remain on the lower end of this range, but they still hold historical and collector value. Rare error coins or pieces with unusual striking anomalies can command higher prices, sometimes reaching $316,000 or more if verified and listed to specialized buyers. While the coin may appear ordinary, its place in decimal coinage history ensures it maintains consistent interest in auction markets. If you are considering adding a 1981 halfpenny to your collection, inspect the coin carefully for overall wear, scratches, and legibility of both the obverse portrait and the St. Edward's crown on the reverse. Coins with excessive dirt or grime can sometimes be cleaned gently using approved coin cleaning methods, but overcleaning can damage the surface and reduce value. Proper storage in flips, holders, or albums is recommended to prevent further deterioration. Monitoring recent auction results rather than relying solely on asking prices will give a more accurate understanding of real market value. Additionally, keep an eye out for minor minting errors or unique toning, as these features can significantly increase the coin's appeal even in circulated condition. In conclusion, the United Kingdom halfpenny 1/2 1981, even in dirty or circulated condition, is an interesting and historically significant coin. Its bronze composition, Queen Elizabeth II portrait, and the reverse design featuring St. Edward's crown make it visually and historically appealing. While most dirty circulated examples sell for just a few dollars, steady collector interest ensures that the coin remains relevant in today's auction market. For anyone exploring British decimal coinage, the 1981 halfpenny offers an affordable and meaningful addition to a collection, giving a tangible connection to everyday British life and the era of decimalization. Thank you for joining us on this detailed journey through the 1981 halfpenny 1/2 coin. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more in-depth explorations of rare coins and their stories. Until next time, happy collecting!